This is a book that I bought some time ago, and I find it quite useful to see what different varieties of trees we can have for the garden. Although I started planting my garden up, well, probably now 15 years ago, I still do look for trees that are different. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Amelanchier or Juneberry, sometimes called a service berry tree. It's got lovely white blossom at the moment, so I'll take you out in a moment and show it to you. Right, here we go, all tugged up. I've had to wrap up again today. Even though it's nice and sunny, it's quite deceiving because we've got quite a chilly northerly wind this morning. Right, so here she is. Absolutely beautiful. I would definitely recommend this tree for people wanting a small tree for a garden, one that's going to have lots of different interests throughout the year. So we're beginning of April now, and as you can see, it's completely full of lovely white blossom. When the blossom goes over, each of these little flowers will turn into sort of like a little red berry, a bit like the size of a holly berry, and they'll go bright red. But you can guarantee really that as soon as they start to turn red, if you've got a lot of blackbirds in your garden, they'll be straight on the tree and they'll eat the lot fairly quickly, which is a bit of a shame really. I'll take you now to have a look at one of the other trees, because I've got about probably 6 of these in the garden and the woodland. So walking now to go into the woods. We did originally have all wooden gates like this, to divide between excuse me, to divide between, oh look, can't resist this, just got to have a look at this butterfly doing a bit of sunbathing. Always nice to see them waking up after the winter. It's me. Okay, so as I said, we started off with wooden gates around the edge of the perimeter between the garden and the woods. We made them ourselves, so they were made out of softwood. So hello birdie. Hello. So as the years have gone by, the gates have started to rot a bit, and now we're replacing them, and we're putting these metal galvanized steel gates to replace them. Oh, just quickly show you the shed. Not very interesting, I suppose, but there is a little bit of a story behind this. When we first moved here and we decided to keep chickens, as most people do when they move somewhere new and they've got a bit of land, we bought this shed, and as you can see, the base still down there. That was the whole size of it. It was probably 12 foot by 10 foot, something like that. And it started, because it was a bit of a rush when they came to deliver it and they wanted to put it up straight away, I just quickly threw some pallets down on the ground as the base, and through the years they've rotted away, got woodworm and whatever, and basically the shed was in danger of being undermined and collapsing. So last year my husband and I cut the shed up and we made most of it into a wood shed, which I'll show you sometime later, but the rest of it we left like this little small piece, which is about 3.5 foot square, say. We left that with the intention of moving it into the woods to create a composting toilet, but we still haven't fathomed out how we're going to do it so it's movable, because when you've got a composting toilet, obviously you need to move it. Otherwise you'd end up in quite a big mess if you didn't move it regularly. So that's what we're going to do, hopefully. If not, if we decide to abandon that project, we might just turn it into another wood storage shed. So let's take you on again. Oh, this is one of the walnut trees that I was telling you about. probably about 9 foot tall now. I actually got the walnut for the seed for the tree from Warwick Castle grounds once when I was visiting there. It's probably about, let me think, that was in 2014, so 11 years ago. So this tree's been growing for 11 years. It's had a few walnuts on, but again, how wonderful the wildlife. As soon as everything's looking like being ripe and ready for us to eat, they come along and they just strip the tree bare. Okay, so grappling my way through the trees. There's another Juneberry tree. I've planted this at the edge of the woodland. We do have a dike, or you might call it a ditch, that runs all the way round the outside of our land. And the trees that are planted on the edge of the dike, once they get the roots down, they absolutely take off. Obviously they're getting a good supply of water, which is helping them. Oh look, this is one of my little Taihaku cherry trees that I grafted. Full of blossom. It's only about 2.5 feet tall, so it's doing quite well. Oh, here's another one of the Juneberry trees. I would say they grow to no more than probably 3 or 4 meters tall, and I think that's ideal for most gardens. And then in the autumn you get the most amazing red leaves. It really is a great all-round tree. You can probably pick them up at most nurseries or online specialist tree growers. I really do love this tree. There's another one here. This one's actually growing very closely to my Madame Alfred Carrier rose shrub. Probably should really be called a shrub, but this rose has got amazingly thick branches. I would say they're a good 2.5 inch diameter branches, and soon in May time this fabulous rose will be covered in fragrant white flowers. So I've got a little interesting fact to tell you about the Juneberry. So we're back looking at the first tree again. So knowing the way I am with grafting things, I looked to see what the family genus of the tree was and found that it was related to hawthorn. Well, running down the side of our land we have a mature hawthorn hedge, and every spring we get loads of little new hawthorn trees growing, which we don't really want there. So what I did is I dug some up, and I thought I would grow them on a little bit, and then I decided to try and graft a piece of the Juneberry. So I took a shoot like that, say, but before obviously the leaves had come out, and I grafted it onto the rootstock of the hawthorn, and this is actually the resulting tree of that graft. I only ever bought one Juneberry tree, and all the rest that I've got dotted around the woods and the garden are either taken from grafts or cuttings, or, well, probably grafts, because I don't know whether actually this tree would grow from a cutting. So I'm going to show you the base of this tree, because the evidence is here that this was actually a hawthorn rootstock at some point, because we've now got little hawthorn shoots coming out. I have to chop these off very regularly, otherwise they would overwhelm the tree and probably eventually maybe revert back to a hawthorn. But yeah, So that shows you that this was actually grafted onto a hawthorn rootstock. Just a little bit of pointless information there. I was a bit late coming outside today. I usually like to get out as quickly as I can, because the longer I stay in the morning, the longer or easier it is for me to find other things to do. And then when I do eventually get outside, I sort of think, where's the day gone? Oh, this is a beautiful spirea. Another white shrub again. This one's called, I think it's called wedding something anyway. Again, it flowers early in the year and it's absolutely covered, as you can see, with beautiful white blossom. Once the blossom's gone, basically it just reverts down to green. But while it has got its flowers, it's fabulous. It's really lovely. When this is finished flowering, I'm going to cut it really, really low, because I've got roses planted near to it, and because it's probably nearly 5 foot wide now and about 4 foot tall, this will overshadow the roses and obviously won't help at all. So going back to why I'm out so late today, since I started doing some repotting of my roses and a lot of digging after the winter, I've been having problems with my sciatica. So I find that in the morning I need to sit down on the settee, usually with a cup of tea, and just sit there with my legs crossed. And I find that if I sit there for about an hour, just crossing over my legs, then changing and, hello birdie, crossing onto a different leg, that eventually the sciatica goes and I can just carry on as normal for the day. So that's what I've been doing, because I've been struggling a little bit with back pain over the last day or two. Oh, I'll just quickly show you. This is the shed that we created when we cut up the old shed. So this one's about 3/4 of the size of the original. Basically what we did is each of the panels, we just cut 3/4 of them and left a quarter, which is what's left over there, the compost loo shed, and this is the rest. And this is where we put, among all our other bits and bobs, this is where we're starting to store some of the wood ready for next winter. I think this clock thing has had its day. It doesn't work now, and it's starting to look pretty rotten. So apart from the ornamental value, I think that will probably soon have to come down. I'll quickly show you my taihaku, or great white cherry. It's basically in full flower now. It's not really getting its roots down, I don't think. I think once it really gets going, it'll get bigger. But I think this tree is probably on a small rootstock. You can get different size of rootstocks, and usually ornamental trees for gardens are put onto what they call dwarfing rootstock. This makes sure that they don't get too big. So even though this is on a dwarfing rootstock, it's not really a tree that I would recommend for a small garden. But anyway, that's the parent, the donator of all the graft wood that I've used to make all of my new cherry trees. So let's just skip off and have a quick look at the orchard. Nothing much going on here. I think we need to be well into May before we get blossom on the fruit trees, apart from the pear trees, of course. They're always the first to come out. So I would say, if you're looking for a tree for your garden, probably my biggest recommendation to you would be to go for a pear tree. And the reason for that is because this time of year, look at that, you get all of that fabulous blossom. This is a Burr Hardy pear tree. This was a bought-in tree. Oh, look, there's a jackdaw. Hello, jackdaw. Frequent visitors to our garden. Okay, so the pear tree. This is a Burhardy pear tree, available from all garden centres really, and online. They don't get too big. The beauty of a pear tree is you get the fabulous white blossom in the spring, and also they don't get too big. They grow quite columnally, so they grow up rather than out, and you can prune the tops off so easily. I mean, I only did a half job of this a couple of years ago. I only actually got half of it pruned, so the shorter half is the bit I pruned. The other bit is the bit that didn't get done, so it doesn't harm it at all. You won't over prune it, so you've got no worries there. And then obviously the benefit of all of this, of having a fruit tree rather than just an ornamental tree, is that you'll get pears in the autumn. And believe me, the way the price of fruit's going now in the supermarkets, anything that you can grow yourself and contribute to your pantry, as it were, you know, you can't go wrong. They are absolutely fabulous. The benefit is with this variety that you can actually eat them straight from the tree. They're so easy to identify when they're ready to eat, because they go from a definite green to a slightly buttery, lemony greeny colour. So you know, and you just give them a little squeeze and you'll know when they're ready. And they do keep in a cool place, garage or whatever, for quite a few weeks. And as you want to eat them, you just bring them out of your cold place into your kitchen or where it's slightly warmer, and that's when they'll start to ripen up, ready to eat. Because the thing about pears is that basically once they're ripe, if you don't eat them, then you're too late, because they'll be gone. But anyway, that's the Burhardy pear tree. Another tree that might be of interest for your garden is the plum tree, because again, they're the same. They've got beautiful white blossom at this time of year. This one is an opal, lovely big, dark, damask, almost bluey coloured plums, really, really juicy. And then this one, this is called, I mean, look at the tag, this is Cesar. Now this poor little tree is the same age as the opal tree, would you believe it? But unfortunately our wonderful wildlife had a bit of a go at it when it was very young, so it's struggling. It is actually starting to send up some nice straight shoots, which gives me hope. It tells me that it's probably finally now starting to get its roots down and should start to take off a little bit more now. We've also got Victoria plum. This is a very popular variety, great for cooking with. I stew a lot of my fruit and jar it up using really the method that you use when you make jam, in airtight jars, and then we eat it all through the winter time. I have tried making prunes as well out of some of the darker plums. They do take quite a lot of effort, as they take a while to dry out. So that's the Victoria plum. I have actually taken a few grafts of that, so I've got a few of those trees growing about. This tree, this is another plum tree. This is another opal. Again, they do go a nice colour in the winter as well. Well, not in the winter, but in the autumn, the leaves, when they start to turn. Oh, this is an opal. This is one that I grafted. We've got a lot of wild plum on the perimeter of the woods now. They were here when we moved here, but that's another story. I'll tell you about that another time. Not really a very happy story, but there we go. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'm just going to pan you round and just leave you with a shot of some daffodils. Please like and subscribe, it's free to do so, and as I'm trying to grow my channel it really will help a lot. So have a lovely day, hopefully the sun's shining for you. Bye for now.